are the faces of breast cancer survivors, women of all ages, of all races, from all different backgrounds and with different diagnoses. They shared a battle with a killer, and now they share their stories of survivor here on It's Your Call. For 15 years, It's Your Call has made breast cancer awareness a part of its mission, and I'm proud to say that we are continuing that tradition once again. What started as a tribute to my own mother's battle with breast cancer is now a continuing commitment to educating and informing the public about the disease. Hello everyone, it's great to have you with us. I'm Lynn Doyle. You know, so often we hear the bad news that's associated with breast cancer. The startling numbers that tell us 1 in every 8 women will get it. The statistics that tell us every 3 minutes a woman in America is diagnosed. And the countless heartbreaking stories of men who have lost the women they love, siblings who have buried sisters, children who have said goodbye to their mothers, and mothers who sadly have lost their daughters to the disease. Well, not this time. This time on this show, we have powerful stories of survival, stories of brave women who have overcome the odds and who are now sharing their experiences to help motivate and inspire others. I'm humbled to have them with us today. I want to introduce you to them right away. They start with Elise Spatz Kaplan, a 20-year breast cancer survivor and the Director of Programs and Partnerships at Living Beyond Breast Cancer in Philadelphia. We're also joined by Taisha Love, who is a 4-year breast cancer survivor. She's written a book about her cancer experience titled I Am Not My Hair, a young woman's journey and triumph over breast cancer. She's donating a portion of her book's proceeds to various cancer support groups. Ladies, thank you so much for being here and for sharing in our mission of informing the public about breast cancer. It's great to see you.
Thank you for having us.
I want to start with you, Elise, because your story mirrors my own mother's story. Suspected that something was wrong and had a doctor say, I'll worry about it for you. Tell us a little bit how you came to be diagnosed with breast cancer.
I felt the lump in my breast while taking a shower. I was caring for my mother, who was ill at the time. And a few short weeks later, I went to my doctor's office, had the lump checked out. They thought I was too young. Don't worry about it, but in light of your family history of breast cancer, let's do a biopsy. And that's how the story started. I had a biopsy and it proved to be cancer.
Now this was 20 years ago when we didn't talk about it quite the same way that we do today. Were you overwhelmed with fear just at hearing the words, Elise, you have breast cancer?
Actually, for me, I think it was a bit different because I grew up with a family history of breast cancer. I was 5 years old when my mother was diagnosed, so I grew up thinking that breast cancer may happen to me. I just did not know when. So I was more worried about my young children. I had 3 young sons, 2, 5, and 8 at the time. So my focus was more on being present for them and knowing that I would do everything possible medically to take care of the cancer.
Can you share with us what you did do medically to make sure that you beat this disease?
I needed to have a mastectomy on the breast where I had 3 cancerous lumps detected. And I was a little bit of a rebel for my time. I wanted to ensure this wouldn't happen again, so I opted to have a prophylactic mastectomy on the opposite breast.
So for people who are not familiar with that, it means you voluntarily removed the breast that had not been diagnosed as cancerous.
It was preventive,
yes.
Right. And it proved to have some atypical cells, which at the age of 34 may have led me to a higher risk of having a second breast cancer later in life. And then I followed my surgery with chemotherapy.
And if you look back on that time, is there a way that you can characterize it and the impact that it had on you and your loved ones?
I think we were sort of on the fast track of hurry up, get all the consultations and the doctor's appointments. What was important to me and for my family was figure out the treatment plan, get started so I could get done and move forward with my life.
And that's exactly what you've done. And now helping other cancer patients has actually become a vocation for you, not just a passion for yourself to heal yourself, but to help others.
Yes, I used my cancer experience to sort of change careers and take something really bad in my life and make something good out of it.
Well, talk about using an experience. That's exactly what Taisha has done. You were a young woman when you were first diagnosed, in your 20s. That's frightening. Tell me what that experience was like for you.
It was very frightening. I knew that it was a possibility that I could develop a cancer because it's very strong on my mother's side of the family, so I knew it was very possible. But just to hear those words at the age of 29 that you have cancer, it was very terrifying. And I think for a long time I didn't want to believe it, kind of denial, not accepting.
Everyone has a different reaction when they hear what their diagnosis is. You heard Elise say that she was going to be very proactive, but you admit to being scared when you heard it. Even though you may have suspected it was coming in your direction, one can never really quite prepare for it, can you?
Oh no, you can't really prepare for something like that. But once I accepted that this, the diagnosis, it was just like, what do I need to do to make sure that I'm healthy and I'm here for my children and we can have a life together?
So in that, you were motivated, just as Elise was, by your children and wanting to be here for them, and by being proactive, saying, okay, now that I've accepted it, what can I do? What did you do? How did you approach it?
I approached it, I just thought about the women in my family and their battles with cancer. My mother's a 3-time survivor. She's also BRCA1 positive, as am I, and I didn't want to take that chance of cancer trying to come back to attack the breast, so I just went for the bilateral mastectomy with reconstruction, and we went right into my chemo treatments.
And it's been 4 years since then.
Yes.
Your prognosis is good?
Yes.
And you took the experience, as Elise did, to almost make a vocation change yourself, or at least to add to what you had been doing.
Yes, mostly for me, it's just bringing awareness to other women beyond, or even caregivers and their loved ones, beyond just the physical aspects. People hear of someone being diagnosed with cancer and they think chemo and hair loss, and it just goes so far beyond that. It just families, how it affects relationships, and how your concerns about finances and job security and spiritual struggles and the emotional roller coaster, joys, highs and lows. Just bringing awareness.
We're going to talk more about that later in the show as well. And we're going to invite our viewers to be part of that conversation as well. But your book is called I Am Not My Hair, because you did take the experience of not just losing your hair, but of your entire life changing, and then shared it in this book.
Yes.
What did you hope to accomplish with it?
Actually, it was not my plan to publish this book. This book was just my journal. I journaled throughout my experience because it was therapeutic, and once I was past my treatments, everyone, friends, family, they were encouraging me to publish the book because they said, you won't believe the awareness that you would bring if you were to, bring this to the public.
Well, we're going to talk more about that and talk more with Elise in just a moment, but I do want to tell you that we'd love to hear from you. If you'd like to give us a call or you'd like to email me and share your story or a story of a loved one, we'd love to hear from you. I'm at lynn@lynndoyle.net. In fact, we're going to go to the telephone lines where I'm joined by Tammy. Tammy, it's nice to have you with us.
Thank you so much for having me.
Now, we've been hearing these brave women share their stories of survival, what they did to move forward after hearing that they had breast cancer. What kind of experience have you had with the disease?
Well, my mother has had breast cancer for 19 years, and she has incurable stage 4.
Oh, I'm sorry.
And it's a hard thing to swallow, but at the same time, she is an amazing woman. She is doing all she can do to stay here with us, knowing that she is just passing through, and this is her journey, and her outlook and her attitude is inspiring because she just looks to God, and she knows that He ultimately has the say.
Okay. Do you want to give your mom a shout out?
Hey, Mom. She's very, very excited.
Oh, good. Do you want to tell us her name and where she's from?
Her name is Joanne Wolf, and she is from New Jersey.
Okay. Well, Joanne, we are thinking of you. Our hearts and our prayers are with you. 19 years, Tammy, just seems like an amazing